Hey guys, I'm normally not on here, and this whole video is just gonna be in black. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and see if any of you guys could resonate with me. I normally don't put out video post or voice post. I normally just type everything I feel or think or share or whatever, and yeah, so the noise in the background is I've got an ambiance of thunderstorms going on. I have a fan on high, so yeah, please disregard. I hope you guys can hear this, but I am just sitting here. I just took my night medication and barely ate. I don't know. I have recently, especially today, can I mention, and I don't think I've ever mentioned, on how much I really hate my body. And I don't mean like on a physical sense. I mean, yes, I dislike some features, but I'm talking about, I mean, those things I can live with. I can live with being without teeth. I can live with being fat or, ugly or whatever, and old and wrinkles. But I mean, I'm talking about a deeper level. I mean, I feel like I have these internal battles. It's like so crazy that, I mean, okay, so I haven't been diagnosed with diabetes or anything, but I mean, I've had glucose testings, I had everything. They're all coming back normal. Everything's fine. Of course, every time I take a test, it's normal. But yet, I still have bouts every now and then of having low blood sugar or high blood sugar, and I try everything I can to try to get it normalized. And besides trying a bunch of MLM stuff, but I mean, if you guys saw this stuff, don't hit me up, don't hate me. But yeah, um, I don't know. I just had this really bad. It started off this morning. I had every intention this morning with my kid going out, and she's not really a kid. I mean, she's almost an adult, but I mean, we have an above ground pool, and last summer I barely got in it, but because of the heat, and I become heat intolerant over the years, especially with all these diagnoses and my medications, and yeah, and let's just add anxiety to the list. But so I promised myself this year I was going to try to get into it more, and especially for her because she loves spending time with me, and I mean she's like my best friend, and and as she gets older, I have known I have her and I have grown closer, and I find it more of a privilege and an honor that she considers me, her friend, and not just as a parent. And I know there's many people say that that children is you're not supposed to be a child's best friend. You're supposed to be a parent. Well, while that is true to a certain extent, I do believe that and to those same people that believe that concept, I want to ask you, you believe that we should be a parent and not a friend to our children, but then you want to know why your child is running off and telling their friends everything that's going on with them, and they're not talking to you. Well, maybe because you have raised them to feel like you're, to be inferior, you know what I mean? Like they are scared to talk to you because your mom, your dad, you're never going to understand because you're not their friend. And I mean, you can still be your child's friend and still be their parent. And it's not easy to maintain those boundaries, but it is possible. And I have been fortunate enough and blessed enough to have a child who that God's given me that understands when I'm being mom and when we're cool. Everything's, we can joke around, we can play around, and we can share each other's secrets, and we can be close and tell her that you can talk to me about anything and everything. And if you need you need the friend version or you need the mom version, and I can pick up on those vibes. And so before I get off subject, I mean, I just wanted to say that, I mean, so yesterday, like, I guess it was like, it was, I guess it was just too exhausting and too tired and go swimming and everything like that outside. And she likes to spend time with me, so I decided, I told her, I said, hey, we'll get up early in the morning and I can, before it gets too hot, I can go out there. We can spend about an hour in the pool. And, I have to take it hour by hour, what I mean? Maybe even if it's just 20 minutes. I mean, she was more than willing and happy to do so. But of course, then again, she knows how much sleep means to my body for healing and how much if I'm asleep, she respects that. And instead of waking me up this morning, she allowed me to sleep in and allowed me to get my rest. And I felt so bad because I was like, oh my God, I slept in and I meant to get up and go, and go out, go outside and, go swimming with her this morning. But by the time I woke up, it was already like late morning. I mean, going into early lunch period time, and it was already going to start being it was already 90 something degrees. And I'm just like, I can't really handle that. So I'm like, all right, well, told her, I said, you know what, let me see how I do throughout the day, and then I think maybe we can go, around dinner time, when the sun sets, and it'll be a little bit cooler, and, we can do that. Of course, we put up lights outside, so we can always, if it gets a little too dark for us, we can always, flip the lights on, and we got the little bulbs that go around the pool, and I thought, it looked nice, and it looked fun, and so I thought, well, I can see how my body does in the, evening heat, versus in the mornings. Well, unfortunately, my body has some other things, and I really hate it because mentally and emotionally, I am raging a war with it. Apparently, when I woke up late than usual. I mean, I got up around like 10-ish, give or take. I mean, I woke up a little after 9, but I actually didn't get out of the bed till like 10-ish. And, but she was, just hanging out. She was laying on the bed next to me, and she was, on her phone, just, being quiet, but just kind of chilling. And those of you that are not familiar with our living arrangements, her and I share a room. So, I mean, it's been fine. I mean, we've managed. I mean, her and I are like roommates. I mean, it's cool. So, and we decorated our room because we have some very, very similar tastes. And I'm young at heart, and I can keep up with, her genre things and that, and she's an old soul, and she likes some of the similar old stuff that I like. So, and we also have our, when we need our alone time. There's been times where she'll just go into the living room area, and she'll watch TV, be on her computer in there, and whatever it is, and I'll have the bedroom all to myself, and and vice versa, or so we're not like attached to the hip, but there's many times where we do have, or times where we're separated as well. So that's just a little background. But anyways, I'm not trying to make this video very long, but so yeah, I ended up, so I thought, well, maybe I can try to see this evening, how I could go into the pool. Well, apparently my body decided, no, that's not going to happen. So apparently, I think when I woke up, I had, and y'all, yeah, guys, don't judge me. I am I'm just horrible. I know what I need to do to eat properly and everything. Sometimes I'm lazy and I don't care, and I just don't do it. But I'm sure many of you guys, I mean, you probably secretly are can totally resonate with this, and you probably don't want to admit to it out loud in front of everybody. So, I mean, it's fine. I mean, even though sometimes I feel like I'm alone on here and I'm weird, and yeah, but I have no shame in, admitting But yeah, like I woke up, I made some coffee as usual, but here lately I've been making coffee and I only drink like maybe like not even half a cup. And I'm like, ugh, my body is just like not wanting it. And then I am, even though I totally cleaned out my whole Keurig and I had like totally like descaled it. I rinsed it. I did the white vinegar thing. I rinsed it so much, and I only use bottled water. And so, I mean, and I constantly change the filter out. I do everything. I always do a rinse afterwards, after every cup. I mean, but for some reason here lately, I have not been having the mood for having a cup of coffee, even though it's like part of me, it's like Jekyll and Hyde. It's like one side of my brain's like Jekyll, the other side of my brain's Hyde, and they're like against each other. And it's so weird. So I ended up, sometimes I'll just wake up and I'll make makeup, and I know in my head I'm not going to finish that cup of coffee. But anyway, so I drank a couple sips of it, and I was really hungry because I got out of bed too late this morning. And so I might as well just skip breakfast. So, but I didn't want to really skip it. So, and I wasn't really ready for lunch. So, I mean, my darling daughter, she was like, hey, I can just go grab you, a couple, the Uncrustables, and we have, a couple different kinds of those and a banana. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. We call it a smiley face breakfast, She grabbed me like two, I think it was peanut butter and jellies ones and a banana. And I was like, that sounds good. So I went ahead and ate that. I ate one, and then I ate the banana. And I even drank, instead of drinking my coffee with it, I decided to have I drank a 12 ounces of the Simply lemonade, but it's the raspberry lemonade. And so I was drinking that because I wanted something cold and something with a little bit more sugar in it. And plus, I went ahead and took my normal morning pills. And so I ended up taking it, and I took my pills and I ate the breakfast, and we decided, let's see what's on the TV, So I'm sitting there watching TV, and here lately, I started from the very beginning. Her and I have been watching like the 90 Day Fiance series. I like, now that she's old enough, I'm like, I can share like all my shows that I used to watch when she was younger. I was like, now you're old enough, we can watch them together. I always wanted somebody I can bond with them with, and because Tommy can care less about those shows. So, I mean, him and I are on totally opposite ends when it comes to shows. He watches like Daisy's Catch, and he used to watch Moonshiners and all those shows. I would watch, all the trash TV, I guess, reality television. I mean, that's just how I am. So, anyways, so I ended up deciding that I was going, we were going to watch, start the next season of the 90 Day Fiance. I think we're like on now like season like 5 or 6 now of the original series. We're going to watch all of that, and then we'll go back and watch the other ones. We're just trying to watch them all like in order. Anyways, so we don't miss anything. But we want to get it done before she graduates and goes off to college. So we're really like binge watching here. And so, we turned it on and we started watching it. And then I think it was maybe like an hour or 2 later or something like that, I guess, give or take. I remember, her mentioning, hey mom, we need to do like groceries or whatever. We typically get it like sometimes when I don't feel like getting out, we'll get our groceries, delivered. And so I typically order like from either Amazon or Target. I'll, have it, just delivered. And if all else fails, I'll do Walmart or Kroger, but most of the time I have no problem getting it through. I prefer like either Target or Amazon. So, so I'm getting it I'm like, okay, so let's figure it out. See, her and I, we literally, when it comes to food in this house, it's so weird. It's like, Tommy as mom and Tommy's uncle slash stepdad, I guess, which is his mom's husband. I mean, and now my brother, because he's been staying here too now. I mean, they're like they have their meals, and then Kaylee and I we try to sometimes try to eat a little bit more healthier and stuff. So we eat, and we're a little bit more pickier on our foods. So her and I pretty much we do our meals together. So there's usually like two people, it's almost like two families in one house. But yeah, it gets kind of crazy, but it's not that bad. We've kind of coordinated it, I think, in a weird way. But so yeah. So Kaylee was telling me, hey, we need to do our groceries and stuff. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, okay, all right. So, I don't know, let me know. And Kaylee usually she likes to do the cooking. She'll do the cooking for us. So, I mean, well, at least for me and her. And, I mean, she started doing this back, I think, like when she started homeschooling. I moved trying to teach her some cooking things and recipes and things like that. I think I turned that into her I made that part of math, but also as an elective is cooking and stuff like that. And she really kind of enjoyed it, and she realized how independent she became, and she really embraced it. So we ended up so it just became a thing. And I just started noticing how she would look up recipes, and then she's like, hey, this week I want to make dinner. And I'm like, okay. And then next thing you know and I'll eat, and I never really ever turn down her dinner. I will eat anything she makes. And she started getting a little bit ballsier by trying different cooking, like with raw meats and things like that, knowing how to cook them all the way through. She learned how to season foods, and she's taught herself all these things. And I thought, oh, she's going to go into culinary. I just know it. But actually, she told me she's not interested in that. I mean, it's more like a hobby for her than it is like a job. She doesn't want it to be a job. She just wants it to be something she enjoys to do. So I'm like, okay. So I think it's also more of a de-stressor for her. And it's a sense of something that she has control over. Now, I mean, I hope she doesn't hate me for this. I've been telling her dirty laundry. But, I mean, when she was in middle school, before he started homeschooling her, but when she was in public middle school, I noticed her eating habits have changed, and she wasn't eating. And I noticed that she was slowly not really eating much at home. And it was almost like and I noticed she was a little thinner. And I picked up on, even when we'd pack her lunch, and I noticed there'd be her whole lunch was still being her lunch case, and it worried me. And I tried talking to her a little about it, but she's like, hey, I just wasn't hungry or something like that. But she just kind of shut down on that, and it really worried me about that. And I don't know if it was because at that time I didn't know if it was because of kids at school, or maybe it was something internally she was battling, or what was going on. But I mean, and now I kind of know the truth about it, because she's confided in me, which I'm not going to air it out now, but I mean, because otherwise that breaks our bond of trust. But I'm just thinking that for her to be interested in cooking, that was a big step for us, and especially when we were homeschooling her. So where am I going with this? Basically, I'm saying is that when she talked about how she's like, hey, Mom, we need to do our groceries. And so I'm like, okay, so she cooks our meals. She cooks mine and her meals and lunch, mainly lunches. Every once in a while, I'll ask her, hey, can you make me something to eat for breakfast? And everybody says, oh, you're so lucky. Your kid cooks for you. They whatever. And I'm thinking, I don't consider it luck. I consider it a blessing, but I also consider it's more of therapy for her, because I feel like it's more of her way of offering, it's her way of showing love. It's her way of, what in the word I'm trying to find the word for it. her act of love, we all have acts of love, some people it's just listening, and some people it is, buying gifts, and some people it's writing notes, some people it's, just being there, some people it's always answering the phone when they call, some people it's, cooking and some a meal for them, some people it's cleaning up, for them, or when other people see it as a like, oh, it's being laborious, or that's being, being like a mean parent, or being, I guess, abusive or something like that in a way, but it's not. I mean, not when she volunteers. It's not when she's the one who wanted to do this, and she's the one who, and she enjoys it. And she told me for the jump, and I even told her, I said, Kayla, anytime you want me to cook, I will cook. I will figure it out. She's like, no, I'd rather you save your energy, and I'd rather you just relax. You always do so much for me, and that I'm blessed with. And I'm not trying to boast. I mean, if your child doesn't do those things, please do not be jealous of me, and don't be mad or upset at your child, or compare your child to mine. I mean, they are all unique in their own way, but I'm just wanting to say this because that little background, because I want you to know where we've come from to where we are today. But I mean, as far as today goes, I mean, so we sat down and we did this grocery list. And I was choking on myself, but yeah. So I ended up, I was like, the way I do it, I literally go by day. I'm like, okay, what are we having tonight for dinner? What are we going to have tomorrow for dinner? What are we going to have Monday for dinner? And we do it week by week, and that's how we do it. And because we only have enough space for a week, at a time in this house, because space is very, very, very limited. And with this many people in the house, and, and it's hard not to stockpile. But I mean, when we can, if we can share, if they, I call them they, but meaning, Tommy and his mom and stuff like that, when they eat their meals, if they have abundance of potatoes or something like that, and I know we eat potatoes, we'll share it. The same thing with the avocados, onions, things like that. If we bulk buy, it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? There's no, it's not a big deal. So. But yeah, anything else that's extra, that we kind of separated out, and it's worked out for us for the most part. I mean, so anyway, so we sat down, we did a grocery list, and I decided to order from Target, and apparently, of course, everything was limited stock because of 4th of July weekend and everything. But so I just was like, I told my ship shopper, I'm like, hey, I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it, just, skip it, move forward, and we moved on. And I told Kaylee, I was like, whatever we don't get from there, I'll just order, as long as it's not dairy, because I will not order dairy from Walmart. I'm like, nope, I don't. Every time I order dairy from Walmart, I don't care what it is, if it's in the dairy section, it does not last, it goes bad quickly, and or it makes you sick. And I think it's because they don't put the dairy stuff back, or it doesn't sit out right, or people have pulled it off and it was sitting on a shelf, and a random person decided to put it back into the cold section, but after it's already been sitting out for hours. I mean, yeah, I don't trust Walmart's dairy products, and neither does anybody else in this house. So that's a hard pass, no. So yeah, so but so since it was a couple things, it wasn't dairy, I went ahead and decided, okay, that's fine, we'll just order it from Walmart. And it literally was just nothing but a bunch of junk food, and it was fine. But during that time when I was making the grocery list and I got it all together, I was like, I started feeling kind of hungry, and I was like, I asked Kaylee, I was like, hey, do we have any leftovers from our last dinners, or, I usually here lately, I usually my go-tos are usually Lean Cuisines or the Healthy Choice meals, to me, because feels like you're supposed to get enough. You know what I mean? Like, you got your protein, you've got your vegetable, you got the seasoning, you got a starch. It feels like it's enough, so at least for a lunch, and I never really, if I feel like I'm still hungry afterwards, I'll maybe grab a slice of bread or something, but that's it. And I usually will either I'll drink like a soda with it or some juice or whatever. And yeah, so and here lately I've been drinking a lot of like the liquid IVs, and so I've been finding them in bulk online, so it's cheaper that way per stick, doing it that way than it is finding it in the store. And I don't know if it's helped me much, but I do like the taste. So I mean, hey, but and it has got me to drink water. So yeah, so I asked Kaylee, and Kaylee's like, yeah, we had some leftover chili that we made the other night. I guess she makes so much. She makes chili from like homemade from scratch, and so I'm like, this girl knows how to make some chili. It's good, and yes, it's got beans in it because we believe that Texas chili has beans in it. I don't care what anybody else says, but so yeah. But it had other vegetables in it as well, and it was really, really good. So she's like, I think we have enough for like one bowl left or something. And I'm like, is it a full bowl or half a bowl or what? And she's like, oh, it's a full bowl. And I was like, and I asked her, I was like, oh, do you mind can I have it? Can you, heat it up for me while I finish up, this order? And of course she had no problem getting up and going to do it for me real quick. And she brought it to me. And then I had usually in the afternoons I take a anti-anxiety medication, and I take my vitamins, my multivitamins. Most of my multivitamins have got iron in them because I don't really absorb iron, but with little iron I do absorb from them. I'm hoping it's helping, but it's like a vitamin C. I'll take my vitamin D in the mornings though, but everything else I take in the afternoon along with my anti-anxiety medication. So but I literally take it right after I've had food in my stomach. So I ate it. I ate the whole bowl. Like, I scarfed it down. I was starving. And for some reason, I don't know why, but I was. And so I gave it to her. Everything was fine. And then I decided to drink, since it was kind of salty, I guess. So I thought, well, I'll counteract the salt. I've been eating a lot of salt lately, especially since the other day when we went to Buc-ee's like twice, and I realized I can eat the little white cheddar. I think they're called Buc-ee's Nuggies or something like that. Yeah, I like it because they're full of air or whatever it is, but it was white cheddar popcorn. But I mean, I started eating some of that, and I think it messed up my tooth, which is a whole other story. I think I have to go, my bottom tooth, I think I need to probably go back to the dentist again. And I'm contemplating on just getting all the rest of my teeth pulled because I'm getting sick of my teeth. But I don't know financially if it's going to be feasible or not, but we'll see what we can do. But anyways, I have to wait till probably after the holidays because I think that they're out of the office for the week or something, so which really kind of sucks. But that's my life, the cards I'm dealt with. But yeah, so I thought, well, after I had the chili, I thought I'd drink some of the water with some of the liquid IV in it, and I didn't drink very much of it. I really drank literally a couple sips, and then I thought, no, I really wanted, I was like, well, that was pretty much it. And then it's been about 2-3 hours later, give or take, and I was in the middle of doing something. I can't remember. Oh yeah, I remember it was around the time whenever the groceries were finally getting delivered, and it was around that time, and Kaylee was like in and out of the room. She was going to go grab them and put them up and everything, and during that time, it was also during the time when I started to feel suddenly really weird, and I was like, oh no, it was a familiar weirdness. I noticed my sugar has dropped, and I was like, what is going on? So luckily for me, I do have a glucose monitor, and so I checked my blood sugar. It was around like 71, and to me that is low for me. I'm usually normal around 90s to no more than like 120-ish. And anything above that, 120, 130 is like, I feel the difference. And then anything below 80, I kind of start feeling the difference. But this time I didn't feel it till I was 71-ish. And I was like, oh my God. And it wasn't like I was starting to get the shakes, but I really did not. I was like, I started wanting to be ravenous, and I did not like how I felt. Like it was dropping quickly. And immediately, Kaylee was like, she went, like, we have a stash of like snack cakes and stuff like that. And everybody was like, I know you guys are probably like, oh no, that's the devil. Okay. I don't really care at this point, I'm like, we always have a stash of snack cakes here. So I'm like, that is what I have. I literally grab it. It's usually my go-to. I literally take one or two, whether it's a honey bun or a cream pie or something like that. I literally take those. I'll take one or two with me anytime we're going out to have in the car, whether I eat it or not. It's just to have, just in case. Or I have it, or I have one or two at nights after I've had dinner. It's like a dessert. It's no big deal. Okay, well, apparently, so Kate was like, okay, I'm gonna grab you a honey bun, and so you can start eating it. So I started eating it, and this was the bigger ones. It was the Little Debbie's, but it's the bigger pack, not the small ones like I normally get, and so. I told her, I was like, okay, give me two just in case, but I'll just eat one. And I was eating one. I was sitting on the edge of the bed. I was eating it, and I was like, and it's not kicking any quicker. Then I told her, I was like, hey, I have some orange juice in the fridge. I was like, give me some, can you give me some orange juice? So I started to drink the orange juice with it. Okay. And I hate the way it feels. I was feeling, and then I was laying down. I've been laying down most of the day today. So I was laying down because I was planning on doing some gig work tomorrow. So I was kind of resting today. Well, I laid down and I ended up and she was like sitting next to me. But she was also in another room. Meanwhile, every 10, 15 minutes, I was checking my blood sugar. And I think I went from 71 to, it went up to 144 in 20 minutes. I was like, because I felt like, it went to 71 to 83, but I felt like it wasn't going up fast enough. So I started to eat the second honey bun while I was kind of drinking that orange juice. And I started to eat the second one and I only ate 3/4 of it. And then I stopped. And I was like, and I think that's when I started to feel almost like pukey feeling, I guess. And that's when I knew that's the symptom of, okay, I've had too much sugar now. I think I was like, oh man. So I checked my blood sugar again. The third time it came up to, it was now suddenly 144. And I'm like, oh, that's crap. That's really, really high. So I took screenshots, and I have the kind, my monitor, it Bluetooths to an app on my phone. So I can log it, and I can also write notes, and I can type in, I can click on is before dinner, after dinner, before a snack, lunch, whatever, or random, things like that. I can also add notes to it, the time of days, I can, all that stuff. So I can always show my doctor these things too, if I start seeing a pattern. Well, anyways, so I took it, and it was 144. I took a screenshot. I sent it to Kaylee, because she was in the other room putting up, the groceries, and she was getting ready to start making dinner. And because we decided we were going to make some kind of a deconstructed taco thing tonight. And so she said she was going to go and get started on dinner, because by the time dinner's ready, I definitely need to eat something besides a honey bun, So I told her, because I know I need to eat protein in me, because protein's usually your better best to do. If you have blood sugar issues, you always want to go for the protein. Problem is that with protein, it doesn't really have a lot of sugar in it. It just helps control the sugar and micro doses it out, and it breaks it down and gives you what you need. It literally helps control it. But what sucks is that I was in a point where it was I think I had too much sugar. And so, and then I did it again. About 10 minutes later, I checked my blood sugar again. At this point, I wasn't drinking anything. I wasn't eating anything. I was just laying there feeling kind of nauseous a little bit. And I know that from very familiar feeling. My head was starting to hurt a little bit. And I was just like, I am not getting up. I'm not going to drink anything. I'm just going to lay right here and just chill. And I started to feel kind of warm. I was been laying in the fence. I am cold but warm at the same time. And I am not doing the greatest. So I'm like, okay. So I took it again. And it went up 5 points. It went up to 149. And I'm like, what is going on? Why? And I feel like maybe I haven't hit my peak yet. And then I waited about another 15 minutes. And then suddenly I took it again. And it was 207. And I was like, no way. Because then because I noticed my body, I didn't feel as pukey feeling. And I'm thinking, this doesn't make sense. So I thought, well, maybe, what if some of like the, wrapping from the honey bun was on my finger, and I didn't actually like wipe my finger before I pricked it. So some of like the sugar that was on my finger, on my skin, was and it, rubbed against the blood that got into the strip, and it was measuring some of the sugar that was on that. So I called for Kaylee, and so I asked her to hand me a couple like the alcohol wipes, because we always have some, and I said, I'm gonna clean my finger and try this again. And we tried it again. I think I pricked my finger like 5 times, but I wiped my finger really, really good with the alcohol wipe. I pricked it, and then I got just enough blood to test. But instead of testing, I decided to wipe that blood off, and then squeeze another little bit out. And at that point, that's when I got a fresh, a thing of blood, and trying to let my finger touch the actual strip. And at that point, the test came back as like 115, and I'm like, that makes more sense than the 207. So I was like, and we're like, okay, good, I'm coming down. It's better than 140 something. Well, but it was still kind of high for me. But it's still considered, in a weird way, a normal range. So I'm like, yeah, but I was starting to feel better. But then I started to feel exhausted. I had felt like I am just, like, I've been worn out. And at that point, I think about 10 to 15 minutes later, Kaylee comes back in and walks back in, and this time she has dinner ready. It didn't take her long to cook it. It was really quick, and so she brought it in, and at this point, I'm not really hungry. Of course, you're not hungry, because we just got there get their glucose, my body already just went through all the sugar. I went through a roller coaster, and I'm like, okay, but I forced myself to take at least 3 or 4, spoonful of bites of, the mixture. It was like a ground like turkey meat mixture, because we use turkey meat. And it had some, some peppers in it and stuff like that. And like 1 or 2 bites of like some Spanish rice with a little bit of cheese. And I, took a couple bites of that. And then I'm like, okay, all right. I said, I'm going to keep my plate in here. I'm not done with it, because typically I would give her back my plate and she'll take it away. But I was like, no, I'm going to keep it in here in case I get hungry later, because I know me. I may not be hungry at this very moment, but I probably will be in the next hour, because by that point my body, will go back to equalizing itself out, and it'll be like, hey, it's dinner time, So at this point, though, it was like I started to feel bad, because I look out our window and stuff, and I'm seeing Tommy's outside, and he's like cleaning the pool, and then my brother is about to get in the pool, and I'm like, oh, I planned this. I'm like, because I told him yesterday, I'm like, hey, we're thinking about going swimming, and y'all are going to go swimming with us, we're going to be like a family thing. Yeah, that was just great, because apparently now here I am, I feel like a hypocrite, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to go swimming, but I'm not going to swim, but you guys are, you know what I mean? It's like, but I feel bad, because I feel like I told my kid this morning we were going to go, and I overslept. And now, because of my body, because and then now this morning, I and then today I had every intention until we got ready to eat dinner, and now suddenly, nope, not happening. Because I mean, yes, I could go out there now that I'm feeling a little bit better. It's probably not safe for me to because of the heat or something. Because I mean, I know you guys are probably thinking, well, you can at least go out there and like maybe sit outside, in the shade, and it may not be in the pool, but you can at least still spend time. Yes, I could, but y'all guys don't understand. It's the actual heat in the air. If you're diabetic or you know someone who's diabetic, y'all know heat is our worst enemy. It's not cold, it's heat. Heat is our worst enemy. I mean, it will break down sugar so fast that if you're not like high on sugar, like doubling up on that sugar, you're gonna end up dropping really quickly, and it's not the greatest. And even though, I mean, diabetes runs big time in my family. Even my immediate family, even my brother supposedly has been diagnosed with diabetes and everything. So it's like, I mean, but every time I go get an AC1 or A1C, I think, test, it always comes back normal. So, and I don't I guess I don't have diabetes, but yet I think what I have is what's called like reactive diabetes, which I think it's because it's brought on because either I'm not eating in the right timing, or I'm either not eating at the right timing, or I'm not eating the right things to help my body with the glucose levels. And I think that's what's happening. And also having a gastric bypass, I think that also does not help either, because I mean, even though I'm going on, it's been, let's see, I had it in my bypass in 2008, and so it was around this time of year when I had it too, and it was in 2008, and I mean, that's how many years ago it was, and I have yet to get any checkups anymore since then, because my doctor, my surgeon, apparently decided he was going to random retire and didn't tell anybody about it until I read it in a news article, because he was one of the best Dallas, based doctors, but he never sent any follow-up letters and saying, hey, these surgeons or these doctors are going to oversee your care if you have any problems. So I never really sought any other doctors about that. But I mean, I never felt like the need to. I mean, I'm pretty sure I stretch my pouch out. I mean, I drink carbonation, which I shouldn't do. I eat carbs, and I shouldn't do. I'm not working out as much as I should be doing. I know I sabotage myself a lot, but at the same time, age has not helped me out either, and my genetics have not helped me. And I'm telling you right now, I hate my body. I really do. And I have come to the point where it's like, if it's not my teeth issues, if it's not anxiety, if it's not my fibromyalgia, then if it's not my weight, if it's not my, my bipolarness or whatever, if it's not, blood sugars, I guess, it's something. Headaches are a big issue. I mean, so I'm to the point where I'm like, what else, what can I do? What can I say? You know what I mean? It's to myself. I mean, I try, but I feel like I'm at a loss. And being on a governmental insurance does not help at all. And having a husband that doesn't have a job does not help at all. And having limited income does not help at all. So, I mean, I keep telling Kaylee, I am so proud of her. She's going to be the first of us in our family to go to a university. I mean, to actually go to college. and be somebody straight out of high school. I told her, I said her father did not take the SATs. I took the PSATs. I didn't take the SATs, but I took the PSATs, and I took it back when I was like in like middle school, and just because I was curious. And I mean, my score was not that bad, considering the age I was. And I mean, and Kaylee recently took the SATs. She took it twice because she wanted to it to be super scored, and which most universities do it now. They do that now. And I mean, I'm very proud of her. I really am. And I tell her this to her face. I tell her all the time. And she's like, Mom, why are you proud? Why are you so proud and congratulate me and so excited about things that are supposed to be the normal? They're supposed to be this is the everyday normal thing, It's just me living life, And I'm like, yeah, imagine that. I'm so proud because you are living life. And imagine once you do something you consider extraordinary, how much even more extraordinarily happy and proud I'd be, And I think as a parent, and if you are a parent, I mean, it doesn't matter what your kid's doing. If your kid's not doing the greatest in school, if they're not where you think they should be at, or you're like, where did I go wrong as a parent because my kid seems to not want to do what I want them to do in life, that's okay. It's okay. I mean, they're gonna find their way. They may find their way, in their 20s. They may find their way in their 30s, 40s. If they don't have to know and find their way. No one set a timeline. They don't have to have it all figured out by the time they graduate high school. And I keep telling Kaylee this because she's such a perfectionist at heart. And I don't understand where and how she got this way. And I hate to admit, maybe I instilled that in her because I've always wanted the best for her. And I've always wanted to make sure that she understood that when she did something wrong, to make sure she didn't do something wrong again twice. You make a mistake once, but don't make it twice. And I guess that could be a default on my part, but at the same time, I'm seeing the woman she is today, and I feel like maybe I did a good thing, but I do see the downfalls of my good thing, and it is a battle with her. I'm trying to be perfect, and I told her, I said, I am not going to be upset if you decide to not even go to a university. I'm not going to be upset and judge you and be mad at you if you decide that you just want to sit there and flip burgers the rest of your life. It does not bother me because that is a job. That is something you're doing. You're not laying in bed all day for no reason. You're not staring at the walls, wasting time and life and talent and brains and everything else. And, as long as you're doing something, and you don't have to do it all, though. And no one says that if you go to college, it doesn't mean that you have to stay. And it doesn't mean if you don't get into college you want to get into, it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It doesn't mean that it's the end. It just means that maybe you can try again the next following year. Maybe you'll get in later. You can always transfer. Maybe it's not meant for you to go to that one. Maybe, God has different plans, and for you. And we just have to go along for the ride. He's the ride operator. Think of it like there is like we're all on roller coasters in life, and there's different tracks, but we all start on the same track, and we're all getting into the seats of this roller coaster. And when that roller coaster takes off, suddenly all the carts separate, and we all go through our own path. But in the end, somehow we all end up back. The carts come back together again, and when all the cards come back together again, we notice those cards may be in different positions, or they may have changed colors, or some may be damaged, some may be better, some may be different colors, some may have designs, some may be facing forward, some may be facing backwards, and then you may have the occasional one or two that may never even make it back because they got lost along the way, or God forbid, their life was shortened. But that's just how life is. And I tell her this, and I was like, just live the Kaylee way. Live your way. We are proud of you regardless of what you decide to do in life and whatever you want to do. And I'm telling you guys this, not because and boasting, because God, we all love to boast about our kids, and their accomplishments. But Kaylee has come such a long way, and I didn't want this to be a Kaylee post, but I know she's going to listen to it eventually, maybe. But it's more about me. I really want to, as a parent. I feel like I reached my peak as a parent when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I took it for granted. We took those vacations, and yes, I played with my kid, and yes, I played the board games. Yes, we watched the shows. I watched, Nickelodeon and Disney, and, yes, we danced crazy around the living room, and we did sidewalk chalk, and we did garage sales, and we did these things, and we did enjoy life the best we could. But I feel like now I've been robbed. My body has been like now saying, well, now that your kid's grown, it was like I made a deal with God when I wanted to have a child so bad, and I wanted to be pregnant so bad, and I couldn't get pregnant. And fertility medications, doctor's appointments, all those things. And if you've ever had fertility issues, you know what I'm coming from. And I prayed to God. I remember one day I said, God, let this month be my month. I don't care, if I never have another child ever again. I just want one. I'm not going to be greedy. I just want one. But then when I did get my one, and she was almost 2, I really wanted a second one so bad, but it didn't happen. And I tried. I went the same route. All the doctors kept saying, lose weight, you'll get pregnant. I did. I even had one OBGYN sat there and tell me, I think it's kind of funny that that people will spend $10,000 on a brand new car and not even think about it, but won't spend $10,000 to get a gastric bypass, lose weight, so they can have a child. And I thought that was I was in tears because I couldn't afford that. I couldn't even afford a new car, so I don't know why he was saying that to me. And I remember my husband said, we're never going back to him again. And it's crazy because that same doctor is still in business today. But I don't know, I don't see how. But I felt so horrible. I'd never been lower in my life. And I did end up getting the gastric bypass only for the simple factors because this was whenever that doctor told me that was before I got pregnant with Kaylee. So I went to another OBGYN who helped me get pregnant with Kaylee. But then 2 years later, I was like, I was getting bigger, and I couldn't claim baby weight because I didn't gain any baby weight. And I was already overweight, and I was high risk anyways when I got pregnant with Kaylee. Granted, I didn't have any complications during the pregnancy until the very end. I had high blood pressure, but that was it. And I had actually lost some weight when I came home from the hospital with her. And she was born healthy and normal and didn't have no problems. And my pregnancy, I had a C-section, so it was normal. Everything was fine. But I realized I gained weight. I started gaining weight when I was trying to raise her, about when she hit, almost a year old. I was like, I remember my father told me, he said, hey, have you thought about getting that gastric bypass, that people have been getting? And I was like, no, not really. I haven't really thought about it. I could look into it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Maybe that might help me. And I did all the doctor's visits, 6 months worth of doctor's care of weight loss programs. I did everything I should do. Thankfully, we got insurances to pay for it. I still had to pay some out of pocket, and it was my father thankfully helped us. He put everything in. He's like, I'll just max out cards, whatever, because I had a better outcome than a normal person would have. I was in my, late 20s, late 20s. So when I had it, and I was thinking, I'm going to be here for my daughter. She doesn't remember me having surgery, even though Tommy brought her up to the hospital to see me during recovery, but she doesn't remember me having surgery. But I remember I did everything to the T. I did everything right. And then I lost weight like it was like magic. But at the same time, I also, when I ended up working out, but the problem is though, I got obsessed with it. And I got to the point where my mental, I got so obsessed with it that I was working out, but I wasn't eating. And then I ended up noticing that's when my iron started to drop, and we started noticing I became anemic. I was losing nutrients. I wasn't replenishing. I wasn't eating correctly. I was eating junk. I was eating carbs. I was maybe eating one decent meal a day. It wasn't even a lot, and it wasn't enough for all the calories that I was putting out. I'd work out for 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm talking about sweating, dripping sweat every single day. I got up at 4 or 5 in the morning, went to the gym before I had to take my kid to daycare. And then I was in school because I thought, hey, I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to finish school. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to, we're going to provide. We're going to be a 2-income household. And it just did not work out. I did finish, got my certification, but I could never find a job that would hire me because of my child. I had to be there for her, but also because I could not, because I didn't have the experience. And unfortunately, the school never provided an internship or anything like that. And so I feel like I wasted it. I wasted all that time and money out of pocket. Getting certified. I did the work. I did the classes. I did the test. I got all my certificates. I walked the stage, and now for nothing. And so I decided, okay, fine. I guess God rather wants me to be a stay-at-home mom. But then I was also realizing my health was declining, and it didn't really hit me until my daughter was about 3, 4 almost. And that's when I started passing out. And I started realizing, that was when my vitamins were so low and deficient. And I freaked out. I was like, oh, okay, I need to eat. And I slowly started eating. And when I started eating, I noticed I also stopped working out. And then my marriage was starting to be on the rocks. And that's a whole other story in itself. But I've been through the ringer, and this whole entire time, I try to keep it hidden from my child, and because she was a child, she didn't know how to deal with this. I didn't want her scared that her mom was going to probably die or something. I would drop her off at daycare or school and be like, and then I would have ailments where I would as soon as I dropped her off at school, I would make a beeline to the ER. And I would be getting checked out because of the way I felt. I would be going to doctor's appointments. I'd be taking medications, but tell her it's mommy's vitamins, and I would, hid these things from her. And I think she slowly figured it out as she got older. But then, then I noticed her eating patterns were changing. And this is when she started middle school. Granted, genetics are not her best friend, right? She was young, and she was vulnerable and she's very sensitive. She's an empath, and she's always been a normal size and weight and height all her life. And I mean, everything was fine, but then, and she was always been active. And then I guess middle school, something had changed. And I don't know if it's hormones or what, but then, I mean, between that and people that she hung with, and it really got to her. And she started, instead of confiding in me, she did what I did. She hid it. She hid it away. She tried to keep, me not worried, and thought she could handle it. And I thank God that showed me well, not just me, but showed our family an exit of homeschooling her. And this wasn't because of certain incidences that we homeschooled her. There was other things that were happening but we were also contemplating as well, because the way society was happening, and we disagreed with a lot of society things that were going on, not just politically, but also, I mean, in the school districts and stuff. And we were thinking, for our family, I think this will be better. But we wanted her input, because if she wasn't on board, she wasn't going to succeed. And at first it was scary, but we did it. We managed. I showed her that you can confide in me. You can talk to me. I remember I bought a book on Amazon, and it was called it was like Daughter and Mom or Mother or something like that. But it's a booklet, and it gives you like a writing prompt or questions or pages. And one page would be the daughter's side. The next other page would be the mother's side. And then maybe the same questions, they may be similar questions, or they may be different questions. But we would pass that book secretly between each other. And she could write in it and tell me things about herself and things or whatever. And then I could write it and tell her things about me that she may not know. And we would go back and forth. I don't even think we never finished the book, because we got to the point that it made us so comfortable that we just started talking. And it actually opened the doors. And this helped our family. And I'm not saying homeschooling is the best for every child, but I'm just saying, though, that is a great option if you guys are very interested in it. I mean, it does take work, and it's not meaning that you as a parent have to be the teacher all the time. There are schools that you can use that will make the curriculum. They will do everything for you. All you have to do is make sure your child is logging in and doing the work, and hope that, but they have to be determined and have to be able to, be able to reach out if they need help. But I mean, I highly recommend the school that Kaylee attends. We've been going to the same school. I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's definitely not very, very expensive. And they do offer scholarships and payment plans, and they're here in Texas. And I'd highly recommend them. But I mean, if you're interested, reach out to me on social media, and you can PM me, and I will give you the link to their site, and you can, ask questions or look it up yourself if you're interested in homeschooling your child. It's not the K through 12 connection. I don't agree with them. The K through 12 schools, they say it's free. I don't trust those, because I have a feeling that some of them may not be accredited, even though they say they're accredited, but a lot of them are going through lawsuits, because their kids are graduated and found out that everything they learned, it is not accepted into the colleges that they want to go to. So, but this school definitely does, and I've done my research to make sure, and so we're looking forward to that. But yeah, I mean, we're about to finish our last year. She's going to be a senior this year, and we can't wait. And yeah, but I turned this into this kind of story because I wanted you guys to know that, I mean, as I lay here, I'm sitting here, my kid is in that pool, the rest of the family's in the pool, and I'm sitting here laying in bed and listening to thunderstorms, because that calms me down, and with fans on me, and I'm laying in bed and in the semi-dark, and I am like feeling bad for myself and pity for myself because I hate my body. I want to be normal. I want to be there for my kid, and that's all I've ever wanted. Like I said, I prayed to God, just give me one child. I won't be greedy. And then I wanted another one, but apparently God had other plans. Even though I did have the gastric, I still didn't get pregnant. So apparently I was only meant to have one child. And then, but then I thought, okay, at least I'm going to get healthy. Well, now here I am. And I still messed it up. And I not only have I gained weight back, and I feel like I totally messed things up with that, but even if I went and I had everything redone again surgically, I think it would mess up my vitamin intake even worse. I think it will mess up, all my other ailments, my other health ailments. I think it will mess things up, even make it worse, to the point where I think I'm at now where I just need to do things my own way. I need to do things right. I need to do it the hard way now. Everyone says the gastric bypass is easy, but it's not. It's hard. It is. It's even more harder than doing things, just dieting and exercising. It's harder than that. But I want you guys to know that, I really did not meant for this whole thing to go on for over an hour. But I wanted to post this to let you guys know that I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. And when I see your posts and I look at your lives, there's times where I'm like, we're the same age, and why can't I do that? Why can't I live my life that way? Why I want to go out there and have that mimosa every now and then. I want to be able to, hey, meet up with the girls and have dinner. I want to be able to, hey, let's go to that random concert and sit on the grass and sit there and, I'm not going to say smoke grass, but you know what I mean. Pop them gummies and enjoy life. I want to be able to do those things, but I know my body's not going to allow me to do it. I know my mind will allow me to. If it's not anxiety, then it's my physical body. And I know I'm not alone. I am thankful. But what scares me the most is when my child goes off to university, and I don't want to be the reason why she stays behind. But I know that that would be probably my loneliest state ever. But that's why I'm working so hard, and I'm making a promise not to her but to me myself, is that I'm really hoping that I could be the best mom I can be in the next year. So, okay. Well, I guess I said all I said. Thank you guys for listening, and I appreciate it. Yeah. I guess that's it. So, if you like this, I guess comment down below, subscribe. I have not forgotten about any of you guys, and I know I put a lot of personal information out there, and I hope no one's mad at me for it. And yeah, but so yeah, love you guys. Bye.